5 more women would disappear in 2009. Nancy Cobb, Imelda Hunter, Janice Webb, Talacia Fortson, and Diane Turner.
Welcome to CSL TV, and I just hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is just a review, a reaction, as well as an informational channel. Hopefully the informational part help you and someone out, and we just gonna watch some videos and talk about it. Now, if you've been rocking with me, I just gotta say I appreciate you so much. You know, you could be like, hey, I don't like what he creating, we gonna try to find it somewhere else, or whatever the reason could be. But you choose to stay and rock with me, CSL TV. And if you didn't mind commenting, let me know what you think about the video you watch, as well as in liking, subscribing. You know, that helps you boy out. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much, so you already know what we about to do. So let's get it.
This story out of California is incredibly messed up. This is Annette Purcell, a 68-year-old woman who was unhoused from just north of San Diego. Annette was a beloved community member nicknamed Granny Annie, who lived on the streets for 7 or 8 years. But early one morning back in May, police found her body unconscious on the ground. Annette was taken to the hospital, where it was discovered that she had been shot multiple times with a pellet gun. She died a few days later, and in July, police ruled her death a homicide. Last week, police placed 2 suspects under arrest, an 18-year-old named William Innes and a 19-year-old named Ryan Hopkins. At William's home, prosecutors allege they found the murder weapon, an air rifle. Online, models like these feature noise suppressants and fire steel pellets at high speeds. And just 20 minutes before Annette was shot, prosecutors say they uncovered a group chat in which William said, "I'm going hobo hunting with a pellet gun."
The awful message by defendant Innes that I'm going hobo hunting with a pellet gun truly just shows just how depraved his conduct was.
William's lawyer maintains he's a typical teenager with a warm heart, and that the teen sent that text 12 hours after the shooting. William has pleaded not guilty to multiple charges, including murder, and Ryan, who prosecutors say drove the vehicle from which William allegedly fired the pellet gun, has pleaded not guilty to assault with a deadly weapon. The teens are still in jail without bail.
He had no hand on it.
Anthony Sowell was born in 1959, raised in East Cleveland, where he will live again later. His mother and his grandmother would abuse the kids, stripping them and beating them till they bled while the other children watched.
God damn, that type of abuse can be traumatizing to a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would beat them until they were bleeding and have other kids watch. That's like torture, you feel me? You got torture going on along with abuse. Should nobody have to go through that?
Watched. When he was 19 years old, he escaped. He joined the Marine Corps, where he would remain for 7 years. He was said to have performed exceptionally well there in the Marines and garnered numerous awards. But, you know, when he left the Marines in the mid-80s, honorably discharged, things went downhill. He returned to East Cleveland, unemployed, addicted, and angry. This would culminate in 1989 with a pregnant woman ending up in Anthony's house, where he tied her up, gagged her, and attacked her. Anthony was then arrested for rape and kidnapping. Anthony Sowell pled guilty to the charges, and in September 1990, he was sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison. He was classed in the lowest tier of sex offenders. He wasn't let out until he served the whole thing, which was in the year 2005. That same year, he moved into the house on Imperial Avenue. A house which, not long after, he moved in, the woman who lived right smack dab across the road, she started complaining to City Hall about the smell. A smell which she said was either gas or something dead. Anthony got into a relationship with a woman named Lori, and this in turn spiraled him into a crack addiction. By all accounts, Anthony was mad about her until, in 2007, Anthony lost his job at the rubber factory, and Lori wanted to get away from drugs, so she left. But her leaving would be a trigger for him. Like, it was the straw that broke the dog's hump over the edge. 1 month after Lori left, never to return, Crystal Dozier vanished. In June 2008, Tishana Culver, 33 years old, she disappeared. 2 months later, Lashonda Long, 25 and a mother of 3, she disappeared. Michelle Mason was 45 years old. In October 2008, she vanished. 1 month after that, in November 2008, 52-year-old Tanya Carmichael, she vanished. And the smell didn't get better. Anthony himself, he stank of it. So when he'd go over to like his sister's house or friends' houses or was around other people just generally, they'd be like, what the shit is that? He would say it was a sausage store next door. When inspectors from City Hall, after so many complaints, went down there...
So you blaming this on a fucking sausage factory. Okay. How in the world can a sausage factory, and what we're, you know what I'm saying, how can that even be possible?
So many complaints went down there to see what the crack was. They couldn't determine what it was either. Sausages, though delicious, shouldn't smell like. They forced the owners of Ray's to essentially get their shit together. So they did, and the owner coughed up 30 grand to try and get rid of the smell. Nothing changed. And he would lure a number of women into his home, torturing them, horrifically assaulting them for hours and hours at a time. 5 more women would disappear in 2009. Nancy Cobb, Imelda Hunter, Janice Webb, Talacia Fortson, and Diane Turner. All vanished without a trace. Which all but takes us up to October 2009, when a woman named Shawn Morris, she popped into Anthony's. They had a few drinks together, you know, had a little bit of drugs, shot the shit. Nothing sexual happened at all. Next morning, she went to leave, and she realized her ID, she had left it upstairs. So as she was walking up the stairs, she heard from behind her, click. He ran up after her, attacked her out of nowhere. He then sexually assaulted her, and after that he went through the house, locking doors and windows. He wasn't planning on letting her go anytime soon. But at this point, she saw her moment to escape.
And this guy did all that shit to them women, and then he hit this woman in the back of her head and then raped her, you feel me? Like, this motherfucker was sick.
Moment to escape and jumped out the 3rd-story window. Anthony ran down after her, completely bollock naked also, to try and bring her back into the house. 2 people happened to be passing by though, and they called 911. Shawn was taken to hospital. She had a ridiculous number of broken bones. She fell about 30 feet. She didn't talk to the police about it though. But someone else did. On the 27th of October, a woman spoke of an ordeal she herself had been through with Mr. Sowell. An arrest warrant and search warrant were issued for Anthony Sowell. On the 29th of October, SWAT kicked in his door. They were looking for Anthony. They found a lot more. Anthony wasn't there at the time. The stench was overpowering though. Dead flies everywhere. Everywhere else were decomposing bodies. Some of them had been there for years. Anthony living with them. And they kept finding body after body after body. A polo was out for Anthony. Manhunt was on. It was on the...
You a sick individual, bro. This motherfucker right here. Ugh. You were just one sick, disgusting guy.
It was on the 31st of October, just as he was randomly walking down the street. Cops pull over, put cuffs on him.
I didn't feel safe. There's something telling me don't go in this house.
Eventually, 11 women's bodies were found in Anthony Sowell's house. All had been strangled to death, and he was charged with 11 counts of aggravated murder and 74 counts of rape, kidnapping, tampering with evidence, and abuse of a corpse. He pleaded not guilty. Good luck. More survivors would come forward and additional charges would be filed against them. That thing would begin in June 2011. The trial of the Cleveland Strangler. He would, during his own testimony, blame what he had done on a heart attack he had suffered, which led him to develop voices in his head, I guess, you know, as you do.
Was there a point in time after the heart attack you started hearing a voice?
Yes.
Did you give that voice a name?
I didn't give it a name. I had a name.
It had a name.
Yes.
What was the name?
Arnie.
He said, you don't deserve what I'm about to do to you. And it was all bad after that.
In the end, the verdict was, well, the obvious. Guilty, true, and true. He was sentenced to death. a memorial was unveiled, Garden of 11 Angels, remembering the 11 women that had been taken from their families. Over the years Anthony appealed, the Ohio Supreme Court given a good old womp womp for Tony each time. Until, that is, in January 2021. He began receiving treatment for a terminal illness that he had, and he died on the 8th of February. And so ends the tale of Anthony Sowell, the infamous Cleveland Strangler. Thank you so much for watching, and please take care of yourselves.